Well, the governor was very clear on many different occasions since the passage of the health care reforms in Massachusetts in 2006 that what we did in Massachusetts works for Massachusetts. It may not necessarily work in California, Texas, or Oklahoma. So what we did works in Massachusetts. It was never meant to be a one-size-fits-all plan for the entire nation. But, Chuck, the governor has consistently described the mandate in Massachusetts as a penalty. Let's take a step back and look at what the president has said about Obamacare. In order to get it past the Congress, he insisted publicly and to the members of Congress that the mandate was not a tax. After it passed the Congress, he sent his Solicitor General up to the Supreme Court to argue that it was a tax. Now he's back to arguing that it's not a tax. So he's all over the map. He needs to
well, it sounds like Governor Romney agrees that it's not a tax. So what you're saying, though, what you just said is that Governor Romney agrees it's not a tax. But you guys call it a penalty.
The governor disagreed with the ruling of the court. He agreed with the dissent that was written by Justice Scalia, which very clearly stated that the mandate was not a tax.
Okay. So I guess I think we're talking around each other. The governor does not believe the mandate is a tax. That's what you're saying.
The governor believes that what we put in place in Massachusetts was a penalty, and he disagrees with the court's ruling that the mandate was a tax. But again,
so he agrees with the president, but he agrees with the president that it is not, and he believes that you shouldn't call the tax penalty a tax. You should call it a penalty or a fee or a fine.
That's correct, but the president also needs to be held accountable for his hypocritical and contradictory statements, because he's described it variously as a penalty and as a tax. So he needs to reconcile those two very different statements.
Before I let you go, I want to ask you to respond to Rupert Murdoch's tweet. I'm sure you've seen it over the weekend, where he I guess decides, let me read it to you. Mitt Romney last week. Tough O Chicago pros will be hard to beat unless he drops old friends from team and hires some real pros. Doubtful. What do you say to Mr. Murdoch?
Well, we're very happy with the team that we have. We're happy with the state of the race. I can't respond to every tweet that Mr. Murdoch sends out, but we like the way things are right now. In the days after the Obamacare ruling, we've raised $6.7 million online. Over 70,000 donations. I think people are voting with their dollars, and what they want is a person who will reverse the big government tax and spend policies that are pursued or being pursued by this president, and get somebody in the White House who's going to focus on jobs and the economy, and that person is Mitt Romney.